Boys and girls, welcome to Faces and Heels, your podcast for professional wrestling here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the recap and reaction to WWE's Backlash St. Louis, which took place in, wait for it, St. Louis. This is the 20th Backlash event, and this is WWE's first pay-per-view after WrestleMania 41, which took place about 2-3 weeks ago, and to mix of reviews, I would say, to put it kindly. It was mixed, namely for that main event, the main event between John Cena and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, that a lot of wrestling fans, including myself, just did not like. And it just left a bad taste in the mouths of a lot of people in the WWE universe. So the build and the lead up to Backlash really had to deliver. It really had to get everybody's juices back flowing, getting excited for what's to come in WWE. And this, I would say, this premium live event, the build to it was decent, but it was still the aftermath of WrestleMania that, wasn't well received. And I'm just speaking from my point of view. It wasn't well received, and it took me a while to really get back in the mold of WWE. It became a chore to watch SmackDown and Raw over the last couple of weeks because it just didn't have that same flavor. I was so upset and disappointed with WrestleMania as a whole. Yeah, WrestleMania had some great matches over those two nights, but overall it just didn't deliver. The way you would expect a WrestleMania premium live event to deliver. But that's besides the point. Yeah, we entered this event, and this is John Cena's first appearance at Backlash since 2009. My God, man, it's been so long, and this will be the last Backlash for John Cena as he's on his retirement tour, as he defended the WWE Championship against Randy Orton in his hometown of St. Louis, nonetheless. But these two have a storied rivalry throughout their careers. I mean, they started together. They they feuded throughout the early 2000s and so on when they got to the main roster, and it's just fitting for it to end here. But how will it end? Will it end in epic fashion? Will it be a worthy bookmark or bookend, I should say, to this storied rivalry between Cena and Orton? We shall see. But along with them, we had 4 other matches on this card, and at first I was kind of thrown off by that there's only 5 matches on this pay-per-view or premium live event. And I'm like, well, that's typical Triple H. He doesn't bombard everyone with 10 matches every premium live event, which is fine because it should be something special left for SummerSlam, left for WrestleMania. Those should be the big events, where you get multiple matches, and these other premium live events should be kind of contained. And I get all that, but are these the 5 matches that you want to see on a Saturday night? I would say, for the most part, yeah. I was sneakily, surprised on how excited I was for this Backlash premium live event. I really was, and it didn't really dawn on me till the day before, the Friday, leading up into this PLE, and I was like, wait, So this is a match, this match, this match. I want to see all 5 of these matches for some strange reason. And I just got excited for it. Uh, we had a fatal 4-way for the WWE United States Championship, where Jacob Fatu, the champion, defends against LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre. We also had a singles match for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. The champion, Laura Valkyria, defended that title against Becky Lynch. We also had another Intercontinental Championship. This one's on the men's side with Dominic Mysterio defending the title against Penta. We had a singles match between Gunther and Pat McAfee. Yes, that was on the card. And of course, the undisputed WWE Championship match between John Cena and Randy Orton. I was excited for these matches. And let's break down how these matches came to be. Starting with this fatal 4-way for the WWE United States Championship. This goes back to night 1 of WrestleMania 41 when Jacob Fatu defeated LA Knight. Yeah, well, it was that night when he lost his United States Championship to Jacob Fatu. And then later that day a day later, I should say, at night 2 at WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre defeated Damian Priest in a Sin City street fight. And so the next episode of SmackDown, during the Bloodline celebration of Jacob Fatu winning the United States Championship, LA Knight interrupted, stating that he wanted his rematch. And then Drew McIntyre, he interrupted, and then Damian Priest interrupted. And so there was this big old thing. Damian Priest, he said that he wanted a championship match, which was kind of ridiculous because you just lost, you just lost at WrestleMania against Drew McIntyre, but whatever. Nick Aldis came out. He scheduled a match between LA Knight and Drew McIntyre. That determined the number 1 contender for the championship. All right, cool. That makes sense because by right, LA Knight do deserve a rematch for his title. And Drew McIntyre, coming off a victory, a hard-fought victory, one of the better matches of WrestleMania weekend, he deserved a shot at the title as well. So have those two duke it out to see who's the number 1 contender makes all the sense in the world. Well, during the match, Damian Priest, he attacked Drew McIntyre, and Solo Sikoa attacked LA Knight. And so the referee, he only noticed Damian Priest attacking Drew McIntyre. And so that awarded Drew McIntyre a disqualification victory. And so he was the victors. But afterwards, Jacob Fatu stood tall over both of them, LA Knight and Damian Priest, after he beat them down. The next SmackDown, you had LA Knight and Priest face one another in a no contest due to interference by Solo Sikoa again. And so following the match, Damian Priest and LA Knight, they started brawling with both Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. And so Nick Aldis scheduled a triple threat match between Jacob Fatu, Damian Priest, and LA Knight for the United States Championship at Backlash. And so it was going to be a triple threat match. But Solo Sikoa stated that Drew McIntyre should receive the championship match because of his disqualification win, which was weird that Solo Sikoa suggested it, but whatever. What makes it weird, no, I'm going to elaborate on it. What makes it so strange is the fact that Drew McIntyre has been beefing with the Bloodline for about 2-3 years now. And so to have them kind of help, I'm pretty sure there's some ulterior motives there, but it was just weird that he suggested. So Nick Aldis, going off the suggestion of Solo Sikoa, made it a fatal 4-way match for the championship. And that leads us into this match that is kicked off the night. What a match. What a match. This was everything that you would expect from these four gentlemen. These are all four champions. They have all been champions at some time or shape or form uh, over the past 2 years, and I must say all four men delivered in this match. This was an awesome match. Didn't like the end. Did not like the end of the match for a number of reasons. Number one, well, let me say this. I expected Jacob Fatu to retain. That part didn't bother me. I'm glad that he retained the championship. What bothered me is how he retained the championship. I really hope WWE allows Jacob Fatu to be the monster, the Samoan werewolf that he is, and just run through this roster on his way to the top. Because I see WWE championship in his future. And so I would love for them to just take the cuffs off and let him go. But that's not what happened here. He won due to interference. Now, it was great that we got the debut of Jeff Cobb. And if you don't know who Jeff Cobb is, go look him up, because I didn't know who he was until a couple of weeks ago when you're seeing all of these reports that Jeff Cobb is signing, and a lot of pro wrestling analysts that I respect and I listen to were excited by this. I knew nothing about Jeff Cobb, so I had to go and look him up, look up some clips of his matches in New Japan and everything. I'm like, man, this dude is a beast. This dude is nice, and he's coming to WWE. Oh my God, man, this has become the Samoan Wrestling Federation. They are just giving us some Samoan I don't know how to describe it, but I'm here for it. But he debuted by taking out LA Knight. He took out LA Knight because Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, they still in their feud. They were concentrating on each other. They went to go fight. They fighting in the crowd and everything like that. So that left Jacob Fatu and LA Knight in the ring by themselves. Well, they went outside the ring and blah blah blah. LA Knight had the upper hand. He was about to deliver an elbow on Jacob Fatu onto the table, and then Solo comes in, yanks Jacob off the table. That was fine. Then you have LA Knight about to attack Solo for getting into the match, getting involved in the match, and then Jeff Cobb comes and beats up LA Knight, leaving him just decimated, and that allowed Jacob Fatu to get the upper hand. Now, if that was all part of the plan, I probably would have accepted it a little more, but Jacob Fatu was kind of like confused by it. He was like, who is this guy? Why is he here? Why is he helping? And it just left me kind of disappointed, in a pretty good match. This was a really good match up until that. But ultimately the result pretty much ended the way I figured it would end. And so I can't get super mad at it, but it is what it is. Jacob Fatu retains the WWE United States Championship by defeating LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre with the assistance of Solo Sikoa and the newly signed Jeff Cobb. This match went 18 minutes, and I give it a B-. Yeah, it was a good match. It could have been great, but that little interference, I should say, at the end of the match kind of took away from the match overall. That leads us to our second match of the night, and this is a singles match for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. Once again, we go back to WrestleMania Night 1. Now, how it was set up, Lyra and Bayley were set to take on Liv Morgan and Raquel for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Well, Bayley got attacked backstage. She had an injury. She couldn't go. She was out of the match. So for night two, now the match is set for night two. This happened in night one. Actually, before night one. It's just disrespectful. I don't like what happened with the Bailey thing. It still disturbs me with that, but we're moving past that. And so Lara had to find a new partner. And so in the worst kept secret in all of wrestling, night two came along, the match starts, Lara comes out, and who comes out behind her in a quote unquote surprise return? It is none other than the man, Becky Lynch. Cool. All right. I didn't have a problem with Becky Lynch coming back. I just didn't like how she came back. But we'll get into that more when we go over this. Now, they win the Women's Tag Teams Championship that night at WrestleMania. Also, cool. However, the next night, the very next night on Raw, they lose the titles when Lara took the pin and gave the titles back to Liv Morgan and Raquel, and which makes no sense. That whole thing makes no sense because Liv Morgan, right after winning that, now she's off filming a movie, so she's gone for about a month or two. Wouldn't it make more sense to just keep the titles on Becky and Lara? You know, and then make this little turn after that. But whatever. We press on. So after the match, Becky Lynch attacks Lara. She turns heel. And this was the first heel turn for her since 2022. And I'm fine with the heel. It just made no sense. So you brought her back to be a face for one night at WrestleMania. I guess I kind of get it. You know, she couldn't be a heel in that match because they're going up against heels. But like I said, it would have made more sense to have waited about a month. Let them hold the titles a little while. Meaningless titles, by the way, because who cares about the women's tag team title division? There is no division. Let's be honest. And this isn't being sexist or anything like that. This is being honest. It's a wasted division. It's a waste of titles. It doesn't mean anything. But I digress. And so the next week on Raw, Becky Lynch, she revealed that she was the one that attacked Bailey. And she also stated that she attacked Lara because Lara's friendship with Bailey, whom Becky Lynch had numerous problems with over the past few years. And now, all that is fine. All that kind of tracks. And I mean kind of. Because Becky Lynch, it wasn't like she was incapacitated. It wasn't like she couldn't talk. You know, I mean Bailey. I think I said Becky. But Bailey, it wasn't like she couldn't talk because she was talking fine after the attack. She couldn't say, oh, it was Becky Lynch. She couldn't tell nobody that it was Becky Lynch that attacked me. Tell Lyra. Lyra was there when she came to go comfort her and whatnot. She couldn't tell her that it was Becky Lynch that attacked me. We haven't heard anything from Bailey. I mean, I thought it was her shoulder that is quote unquote hurt, not her vocal cords. So that, once again, the logic, the logic just don't add up. The math ain't math in there. But whatever. We know that when Bailey returns, I guess it's going to be a big rivalry program, if you will, between Becky Lynch and Bailey. But before we can get to that, we had this match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Great match. Great match. This match went about 19 minutes, and it was exciting. The whole 19 minutes. It started off slow. It felt like Becky had to get her feet wet again to get back in the groove a little bit. But once she did, oh man, these two women brought it. Lyra Valkyria is amazing in the ring. She can go. She can go. I've seen her wrestle half the roster at this point, big and small. The match she had a couple of matches with Nia Jax that was amazing. She made Nia Jax look phenomenal, and and that's saying a lot. And everybody else she done got in the ring with, she looks great. And she looked great here as well with her and Becky. Yeah, there was a couple of, looking like a little botchy stuff. Just a couple of botchy spots in this match. But overall, it was an exciting match. I really, really enjoyed it. And at the end, it kind of got flaky. Just like the first match. But there was no interference, but it just looked like a kind of a botchy end. But going by what Michael Cole was saying, it looked like Lara kind of hurt her nose or broke her nose or something. I ain't seen any blood, but I know when Becky Lynch went for the eye poke, she kind of grabbed her face. I don't know if Becky actually did poke her in the eye or whatnot, or whatever the case may be, but she was clearly hurt because when she went for the roll up, she couldn't get proper leverage because she was holding her face. She only had one arm wrapped around the leg with the roll up because the other hand was holding her face like she was in some serious pain. And then when Becky attacked her after the match, she was still holding her face, and it was like you could tell with the camera angle, she was telling Becky something like, look, chill out. I'm really hurt. I'm really hurt. It just looked a little botchy there, but overall, they got through it. It was still fine. Becky turning on her at the end and beating her down a little extra because she stole the pin. That worked for me. That really did. But this was an awesome match. Awesome match. And I give it a B+. Yeah, it was an awesome match. Kept me engaged, told a story. Everything worked in this match. And so kudos to them. Hopefully we can move on from this. Let's see what else is in store. I was hoping to see Bayley come out, but I guess they're gonna milk this dry, or maybe there's actually some discourse there, but between Bayley and the company there. So I don't know. I hope not, because I really like Bayley. Bayley is the GOAT. And so I hope she can come back and put on a banger with Becky Lynch. I think they need this. Speaking of that, before we move on to the next match, I love Becky Lynch when she dropped that line in that promo about a week ago when she told Bayley, when she said Bayley had, she don't have any friends. The only friend she has, she got to text her for $99 a month or something. And in case you don't know, Mercedes Moné, also known as Sasha Banks, she is this big controversy because she has this text thing. You can text her personally, quote unquote, for $99 a month, but it's actually a AI generated thing. You're not getting any text from her, but yeah. But anyway, I thought that was funny. But in any event, we go from the women's Intercontinental Championship match to the men's Intercontinental Championship match between Dominic Mysterio defending the belt against Penta. This is a feud that has been going on for a few couple of months now. Even before WrestleMania, Dominic Mysterio wanted Penta to join the Judgment Day. Penta turned him down, and it kind of rolled over into WrestleMania in that fatal four-way match between Dominic Mysterio, Penta, Finn Balor, and Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship, where we saw Dominic Mysterio win the Intercontinental Championship. And I will say, I cheered when Dominic Mysterio won. I don't know why. That dude deserves it, man. That dude deserves it. I love the fact that he won that title, but he pinned Finn Balor in that match to win. But on Raw the next night, Dominic, he defended the championship against Penta and successfully retained the title after some interference from JD Madonna, who returned that night. So the very next episode on Raw, Penta interfered in Finn Balor and JD Madonna's tag match that cost them the match. So Penta defeated McDonough in a singles match. I think it was just this past Monday Night Raw, and it was announced on later on that night on Raw that Dominic Mysterio will defend his Intercontinental Championship against Penta at Backlash. So that leads us to this match, and let me just say I'm so happy that Penta is in WWE. I'm not, and if you are an avid follower of the show, thank you, by the way. You know that I don't watch AEW. It's not for any tribalism thing. I just don't watch AEW. So I didn't really see much of Penta. I seen a little bit of him with Lucha Underground when I watched that when it was on. But his time in AEW, I didn't get to see him. So when he came to WWE a few months back, I was like, okay, what's all the humbug about? what's so special about Penta? What's so special about the Lucha Brothers? Period. Well, Ray Phoenix looks good over there on SmackDown, and Penta looks awesome too. He's a star, and they're presenting him as a star, and he is in his proper place here in the mid card, going for this Intercontinental Championship, which I do predict at some point he will eventually win it, but not tonight. This match, shockingly, was the weaker of the card of the entire Premium Live event. And I'm saying weaker, it wasn't a bad match. It was really a good match, but it just wasn't it didn't have that pop like the other matches on this card. But it also was the shortage. This match went 9 minutes, and we had some just, I don't know, man. I guess this was the trend for the night with the outside interference. It was so much interference throughout the night. I think in every match, now that I think about it, it's every match they had some interference at the end that pretty much determined the outcome of the match. And I don't know why. Now I get this one because Dominic Mysterio, he's part of the faction. Yes, I get all that. And basically Penta is beefing with the entire Judgment Day. So I understand that. But then you have El Grande Americano come out, aka Chad Gable, come out for 5 seconds to headbutt Penta, which ultimately cost him the match. And it's like, man, this is too much. This is he already had to fight off Carlito, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. I mean, my God, man, come on. I mean, it's too much. They act like Penta is, I don't know, the Century from Thunderbolts. It's like he needs all this. You need to do all this to beat Penta. I mean, I know Penta is good, but they got him like he's a certified beast. But regardless, the match was good up until all that foolishness at the end. I guess that's the trope for tonight. If you're playing a drinking game, you should be drunk by now. Yes, the match was good until the end, and you should be drunk every time I make that statement. But I still give it a good grade. Dominic Mysterio retains the WWE Intercontinental Championship by defeating Penta with a tad bit assistance. I give this match a B minus. Yeah, it was decent. It was decent. I give it that. A little overbooked, but we'll take it. We'll take it how we can get it these days. And so our next match is a singles match between Pat McAfee and Gunther. And this was the one match that it took some convincing. It took some deep meditation and prayer for me to get excited for this match or even interested in the least bit. I didn't, and I love Gunther, and I just didn't care leading up to it because it's Pat McAfee. I'm not there with Pat McAfee, or should I say, I wasn't. Um, this all started the night after Raw. Gunther came out. He was uh, angry at Michael Cole and Pat McAfee because he felt disrespected by them following his loss at WrestleMania to Jey Uso when he tapped out, which I'm angry at that too. I will look, everybody and their mama know that Jey Uso was going to win the match. I didn't care about that part of it. I just didn't care that he tapped out Gunther with a sleeper. With a sleeper. With a sleeper. It's no, man. They could have booked that better. I didn't like that. But hey, I'm not Triple H. So he felt disrespected by Cole and McAfee, and he attacked Michael Cole. And that led Pat McAfee to attack Gunther and in Cole's defense, understandably so. But Gunther managed to overpower Pat McAfee and choke him out. And so Gunther was fined and suspended by the Raw general manager, Adam Pearce. And the following weeks, Pat McAfee wanted to fight Gunther and asked Nick Aldis, who was subbing for Adam Pearce that night, to lift Gunther's suspension. And so Nick Aldis, he initially declined and instead proposed the match take place at Backlash, where Pat McAfee agreed. And now, like I said, I didn't want to see this. I honest to God, did not want to see this match. Man, was I wrong. I tip my hat to Pat McAfee. Now, I've seen Pat McAfee wrestle before. He wrestled in NXT. I think it was Adam Cole he wrestled in NXT. I could be mistaken, but yeah, they had a match, and he killed it, man. I mean, he looked good. Didn't like that WrestleMania match between him and Austin Theory and Vince McMahon. But whatever. I don't blame him for that match. That match was just a dumpster fire altogether. But I wasn't looking forward to this. I don't know what I was thinking. It's Gunther. Gunther can have a 5-star match with a broomstick. I don't know why I thought that this was going to be a just dumpster fire of a match. I was so mad when they announced this. I was mad. Almost to the point I didn't even want to watch the premium live event. Like I told y'all to start the show, I wasn't super hyped for it. And this was one of the main reasons I wasn't, because of this Gunther Pat McAfee match. Man, this was probably the match of the night. This was amazing. Hats off to Pat McAfee. Number one, Gunther, he held nothing back, and he was chopping Pat McAfee, and to Pat McAfee's credit, he was eating them. He was taking them like a G. I got to give him his props, and as much as he was getting it, he was giving it out as well. And kudos to Gunther for going in there and really giving a match. He made Pat McAfee look good, look better than he looked in the past. You know what I'm saying? It was in that past match with Adam Cole a few years back. I thought this was an amazing match. This was an amazing match. I'm so impressed. Now, was it one of the greatest matches from a technical standpoint? My God, no. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But it told a story. It told a story that kept you engaged for these 14 minutes this match went on for. And I was really, my eyes were glued to the screen. I was so engaged, and kudos to both men. Once again, are you ready? You got your shot glasses. The match was great until the end. the why did Michael Cole get involved? Look, I get it from the story aspect of it, because Michael Cole felt like he was the reason that Pat McAfee was in this blender here called Gunther. But what was he doing? I mean, I don't know what he was doing there. Holding Gunther's feet and uh, uh getting involved with the match. You're a commentator. You're the commentator. You're calling the match. You were calling the match. You got from behind the desk to go interfere, and then you got back and called the main event match a few minutes later. It just didn't quite work. That didn't quite work for me. But it didn't matter. It would have really been bad if Pat McAfee won. In spite of the fact that I was enjoying him, I didn't want him to win. And because Gunther needs to look strong, man. Gunther got to look like a monster if he's going to go and either get back his heavyweight championship or go after John Cena and get that the WWE championship. Whatever, the sky's the limit for Gunther. But he can't lose to Pat McAfee. And talk about I want gold. That's not going to happen. But Gunther did defeat Pat McAfee by choking him out with the sleeper. Good match. Really, really good match. I got to give it the match of the night. And I also give it a letter grade of an A-. Yeah, it would have been a plus if it wasn't for the Michael Cole factor. That part is like, man, come on, man. Come on, Cole. Sit down. Sit down, because you're not going to do. What were you going to do? What were you going to do besides getting choked out yourself? Now, if that would have happened, I would have been all on board with it. But, hey, whatever. Awesome match. Match of the night. But we're on to our main event. Our main event for the undisputed WWE Championship between You Can't See Me, Mr. 17-time champion himself, John Cena, defending that championship against the hometown boy, Randy Orton. The build to this match is kind of a letdown because it really wasn't a build. It was John Cena coming out every week, cutting a promo. Randy Orton sneaks into the ring, gives an RKO. That's that. Next week, John Cena comes to the ring, delivers a promo. Randy Orton comes from behind, RKO. Next week, same thing. Wrench, wash, rinse, repeat, however it goes. It was boring. And this is a storied rivalry. It should be more oomph to it if this is the last time they're going to wrestle. Because that's what this match is billed as. One last time. The last face-to-face. The last showdown between John Cena and Randy Orton. You understand that this rivalry made their careers? This is what you need. You put this up there with Rock and Stone Cold, Flair and Steamboat. You put that up there with that. That's how storied of a rivalry this is. And it was like, it's a build to this match. And now, the reason you need kind of a epic build is because John Cena is not going to give you a 5-star match. He's not even a 4, maybe a 3.5 if he's able to squeak it out. But it's not going to be a barn burner of a match with John Cena in the ring. He can't move like he used to. And, I try not to criticize him too much because, honest to God, let's think about it. Let's step outside of ourselves for a moment and really think about it. John Cena does not have to wrestle. He does not need to get in between those ropes ever. And for this last little run, he don't. He don't need it. He's a Hollywood. He's making movies left and right, TV shows left and right. He's on half of the commercials I see on TV. I see John Cena or hear his voiceover. He doesn't need this, but he's doing it anyway. He's taking these bumps and going through tables and all this other foolishness. He's really trying. And so for that, I gotta tip my hat to John Cena. But on the flip side of that, we're coming off probably the worst WrestleMania main event definitely in a lot of people's lifetimes. That was a horrible match. Horrible match. To say it was a WrestleMania, I don't care if it was on. I don't care if it was on Evolve, on Leveled Up or something. That was just a horrible match. And John Cena won his 17th championship in that match. But this, I wasn't expecting much. And same thing with Randy Orton. Randy Orton, he can give you a lot. He can give you a lot more than John Cena. But Randy Orton isn't going to give you too many 5-star barn burners either. But at least he can carry a match for a while. I'm happy to report that this match was 10 times better than that monstrosity that we got at WrestleMania. This was much better than that match. Was it great? No. But it was good. It was good. I wouldn't put it in the upper echelons of John Cena matches. Actually, after I go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow morning, God willing, I'm probably going to forget about this match. But I would say it was 10 times better than the match we got at WrestleMania with John Cena. These two know each other. These two know how to put on a match, get the best out of each other, and honestly, they worked within the restrictions of John Cena's abilities and what he's able to do at this stage of his life, and kudos to him. And Randy Orton really, he put on a match, bro. He put on a show in front of his hometown fellas, and, and I got to tip it off for that. But once again, at the end, it was overbooked. It was too much going on at the end. Too much. I was so confused. I thought the match was over. When the two refs got knocked out, which was really bad. The setups for that were so bad. Those rep bumps were just, my God. They were so bad. But whatever. We get Nick Aldis coming out. We got all the producers coming out, and I thought they called the match. Honestly, I thought they called the match. That's why Randy Orton RKO'd everybody. He RKO'd everybody, and I'm like, okay, this match. So this is how they're gonna end the match. And actually, I was fine if they would ended the match right there. I was like, okay, it all makes sense. John Cena, he retains the championship. Randy Orton still looks strong, and so on and so forth. And this will continue the feud between Randy Orton and Nick Aldis, and we that's all right. That's that. I can work with that. But no, the match wasn't over. Randy Orton, he was about to punt kick John Cena. I'm like, okay, so this is going to give John Cena an excuse to take some time off, which he does now because he has other things going on. And so, okay, we're going to get the punt. Then R-Truth comes in. And I will say this. That was the most perfectly timed slide into the ring I have ever seen. Kudos to R-Truth for that. Because you don't realize how important that is, the timing on something like that. they have to work in unison. It has to look like it flowed, you know, and that looked like it flowed perfectly. Because I've seen time spots where it didn't work. You know, the like Randy Orton, he'll have to wait, keep stalling, or John Cena have to stay on the ground even longer and longer. And now you, as the audience, are sitting there like, what's going on? Do something. You just standing there. You looking like an idiot, you know? But it actually flowed. It worked well. And uh, of course, Randy Orton delivered the RKO to R-Truth for interfering. And then John Cena got up, low blowed him, hit him with the title, and covered him. And I'm like, what is he covering him for? And then the ref, he stumbles into the ring and counts to 1, 2, 3. What is this? Wait, what just happened? The match was still going on when all of this was going on? I was so thrown off by that. I was thrown off. Hey, maybe it's just me. I know a number of you probably listening and be like, what? How is he confused by all this? I don't know, but I was so confused. It was too much going on for a match like this. And I know that that's pretty much going to be the norm for John Cena matches going forward. We got it at WrestleMania. We got it here. It's going to be some outside influence or interference that's going to take place in order for him to retain, because he's not going to be able to do it straight up. He knows it. We know it. The opponents know it. And I appreciate WWE for not, you know, treating us like we're morons in this particular situation. You know, and I got to tip my hat to him for that. I really do. And because there's no, John Cena was not going to beat Randy Orton straight up in in a clean match. You know that. I know that. John Cena wasn't going to beat Cody Rhodes in a straight up match. No, it's not. It wasn't going to happen. So there had to be some outside interference. I know that John Cena, he got the mic afterwards and said, I want some competition and whatnot. I was expecting somebody to come out. I was expecting Cody. Where is Cody Rhodes? Somebody put an APV out for him. What is going on there? But who's next? You know, I'm gonna get my Goldberg on. Who's next? I don't know anybody else who would take on John Cena and eat the pin, because you're gonna have to eat a pin. John Cena is gonna hold his title all pretty much to the end. Now I don't know who's gonna take it off him. Probably gonna be Cody. Cody's gonna come back. You know, he's taking some time off. He's gonna come back and get his title back. But who will John Cena face in between that time? I don't know who's next. But as far as right now, the undisputed WWE Championship match where we saw John Cena retain against Randy Orton gets a letter grade of a B-. Yeah, it was actually entertaining. It was fun. You know, that 28 minutes long, which was a shocker. That match went 28 minutes long, and it was entertaining. It was really good, you know, and for the sheer fact that it was better than the WrestleMania match. That's why it gets a higher grade. This match is not great by no stretch of the imagination, but I was so impressed by the fact that it was so much better than the WrestleMania match. If this was the WrestleMania match, that main event would have been 10 times better. It still would have been kind of frustrating, but it wouldn't have been hated the way it is now. Maybe they should have booked it like this instead of what we end up getting with Travis Scott and whatnot. That was just dumb. But anyway, that was Backlash St. Louis. I thought it was a really, really good show, man. Overall, all 5 matches were great. I didn't have a problem with any of them other than the end. You know, all the matches was great until the end. You know, I don't know. I guess that was the formula for tonight's show. But hey, I did enjoy it. It was a good time. It was a good little filler before we get to Money in the Bank next month, which is my favorite premium live event outside of WrestleMania. That should be a banger. Can't wait for that. But how did you feel about Backlash? Did you enjoy these matches? Which one was your favorite match? And who do you think will be John Cena's next opponent? You can email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to Faces in Heels here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap and reaction to Backlash St. Louis. I'll be hollering back at y'all next month for WWE's Money in the Bank. Until then, y'all be good, and I'ma holler at you next time.